Hello HBA, Dan here. I'm with Becky Lou of Lou Interiors as we go through this month's installment of Meet the Leaders. Becky, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Becky and I just traveled together. We went to the International Builders Show last week, I guess, depending on when you're watching this. But we've spent a little bit of time recently together. Now we want everybody in the HBA to know who you are. So that's what we're here today.
Awesome.
Tell us a little bit about you, your background. I know your dad was a contractor. I know you've done some teaching. Tell us a little bit about who Becky is.
Yeah. So I am an interior designer. I own Lou Interiors, based out of West Des Moines in my home. And I decided I wanted to be an interior designer when I was 7. So it's been a pretty long track for me, relatively speaking. I figured out that interior design was a career that you could do. And at the time I was really scared that I'd have to pick one thing to do for the rest of my life because that sounded really boring. And when I learned about interior design, I thought, well, that won't be boring. And so then I just stuck with it. And in high school, there was a moment where I was like, what about psychology? Oh. Maybe instead
there is some psychology involved with design.
Right. So I'm like, back and forth. I'm like, okay, do I want the psychology career that's maybe a little bit more secure, or do I stick with interior design, which has always been my dream? And eventually I just decided interior design is the best of both. And it's like, I still get to work with people's very personal lives, and I still get to help them improve their quality of life. And we get to talk about really what makes their space feel like a accurate reflection of them and make them happy at the end of the day. And so it's like, cool, I got it all.
That's great. And so did you grow up on your dad's job sites? Were you one of those little tag-along kids? And
so we actually built my childhood home when I was about 3. So my first job in construction was running the shop vac. And I would hold the vacuum. My dad would say, over here, because he'd be drilling holes and getting those balusters in the staircase. And then my dad, in that new house, my dad had his shop out of the house.
Oh, cool.
So then we've got the woodshed next door, and then we've got the shop on the back of the garage, and we've got, trucks in and out of the house all the time. And my parents also were both self-employed. My mom's a court reporter. But childcare for me was, all right, you're coming with me today because your mom's busy, she has meetings, whatever. Yeah. So I was on the job site pretty quick. And then I went to Iowa State for interior design, graduated just like 5 years before they asked me to come back and teach. Which was a really unique situation. They just needed help at the time because they were short-staffed, and
I'm sure they needed your help, not just help. Yes,
they were hoping for some temporary help while they interviewed full-time candidates for professorships. Okay. So they reached out. They're like, "Hey, you're still around, right? I've heard you started a business locally." I was like, "Yeah, that's me." And so they brought me in to teach 2 residential studio courses. So for 2018, I was interior designer, the business owner, and interior designer, the instructor, and it was a ton of fun.
So then you grew up in Northwest Iowa. Yep. You came to Iowa State. Yes. Did you stay here for a person? Did you stay here because of the business? Did you stay here because of the university? Why did you not go back home?
Yeah. So I actually landed my first job the March before graduating in West Des Moines. So then I was like, well, here's where the job is. So I stayed in West Des Moines, kind of in the back of my head, always thinking that I'd move to a bigger city somewhere maybe on the coast later on.
Right. Where all the cool stuff happens.
Yeah, it's like somewhere not Iowa. I grew up in Iowa. I've been here forever. And then I fell in love with the community. I didn't necessarily see that coming, but Des Moines is just a really great place to be. My friends are here. It's now, it wasn't at the time, now it's familiar and it feels like home. And it'd be extremely hard to leave the roots that I've set up here because it's just such a beautiful place to be.
Yeah, I love it too. I'm not disparaging your decision. I just wanted to know. Yeah. So talking about the Builder Show, tell people that have never been to the show, why should they go?
It's a ton of fun.
It is that.
It's actually, for me, it's been a really great bonding experience with our local chapter because so many people do go every year. And I love to see the new trends that are coming out. It's really fun to be able to say, like, you come back from the show and you go, gold is still in, guys. Don't worry, nobody panic. It's still here to stay. And then some of the new technologies get really fun too. This year, Kohler decided we're bringing color back into plumbing fixtures for like toilets and porcelain things that are usually white or, you know, the old biscuit. But yeah, it's really good as a networking opportunity, and then as just a professional, like, kind of invigorates you, gets you ready for the year.
Now, your dad and probably myself probably remember when those colors were mauve and avocado green, and so let's just hit the brakes a little, right? Tell us about your personal side. Maybe your husband. I know he was just at IBS with you.
Yeah, he came with me. He's vice president of Blue Interiors.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
so you could write off the whole trip.
Yeah, just about. Yeah. There's a few things that we probably won't put on the company tab, but we met in high school up in Spencer, Iowa. Started dating 2011 and then got married officially in 2019. So he's been around a while, and he's my rock. He is actually in more of the analytics side of things than I am, and so our minds meld well together because we're basically exact opposites. Right. Yeah.
And is he a Cyclone also? Did he follow you?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
So we officially, I'm dating myself now because I've brought out years, but we met in high school. He's 2 years older than me, and then he went to Iowa State. We were not dating. We were friends. Then when I decided Iowa State was the school for me, which I also had reservations about because it's in Iowa, I then, after like accepting my acceptance to Iowa State, I'm like, okay, now we can start dating. So then we didn't start dating until then the summer before I went to Iowa State. So then, we dated all throughout college, and then moved in and got married after college.
Great.
Yeah.
So we are here because you were the chair of the Professional Women in Building. So tell us a little bit about that. What drove you to want to lead? Yeah. Why should someone be part of the group?
The Professional Women in Building specifically is, I want to say it's a tight-knit community, but it's really just a very supportive community that is also as welcoming as it is inclusive once you're in. You know, we're something that a lot of our members have told me is I was just sucked in and held in the whole time. I never felt on the outs. I never felt like I wasn't a part of the group. It's just everybody, we're just all supporting each other together. So the sense of community that I get from PWB, the networking opportunities, the word of mouth has really been amazing from PWB. And so being in a leadership position just felt natural. It was like, I want to see where we can take this together, because it's not even like, I don't necessarily get more publicity or anything, you know, being president versus being the other things, because we're all so equally supported throughout the organization. So being president just felt like, somebody needs to do it, and I'm up to it. Let's do it. It'll be fun. Yeah.
Well, that's great. So thank you for this time. If you want to know more about Becky, reach out to her. I'm sure she would love to have coffee, lunch, drinks, whatever works. And if you want to find out more about PWB, they meet quarterly this year instead of, so that's a little bit different, but there's a little bit more content and substance to each meeting. All of that is on the app. It's on our calendar. So come be a guest. You'd welcome them without joining, correct? So that way they can kind of dip their toe in the water.
So we have a monthly coffee club new this year that will be the fourth Tuesday at 10 a.m. every month. We're working on a new location because we outgrew our original location.
I saw the pictures. That was crazy.
It was a packed house. Very big hit of an event, which is why we're going to definitely put our thought into that one to make it as good as it can be, because clearly the members want it.
Right. Reach out to Becky if you want. Her contact information is here. Look at the calendar. Come visit PWB. Thanks, Becky.
Thank you.